Hello and welcome. I'm Lloyd Grimshaw and I'm a member of the Plymouth Brethren Christian Church. This is the next episode of our new podcast series, Behind the Plymouth Brethren, where we tackle common media questions and misconceptions about our church. In this episode, I'll be covering a few topics: education, business, tax and technology. And to help me do that, I'm once again joined by the four Hales brothers, Gareth, Dean, Greg and Charles. So first off, often in media reports about the church, the name Universal Business Team, or UBT, pops up. So for people who don't know, what is UBT, Dean?
UBT is a global consulting organisation. It operates in 19 countries and was founded in 2009 as a result of the global financial crisis. It employs, I think, around 800 people, of which around 400 are from the wider community, so 50% of its employees aren't part of the church. And they provide a range of advisory, coaching, training packages to support businesses. And they also support in providing funding for One School and education. And in more recent times, they've leveraged with a lot of global brands to be able to leverage group buying power on a range of products and services for businesses globally.
So who oversees the UBT? Is it the Haleses or is it the church?
No, the Hales family definitely don't run UBT, and nor does the church. It's a completely separate organisation from the Plymouth Brethren. You'd need to ask that question of the UBT management and board, but what I can tell you is that UBT has played a phenomenal role over the last 16 years in supporting over 3,000 family businesses across the globe, both small, medium and large, and really has been a key enabler of prosperity both in business and in life.
Every one of us would have benefited from the collaboration across UBT and providing a platform to meet other business owners and intelligent business people.
Definitely.
Absolutely. I'm from my own situation back in 2012, fell on tough times and half of our business disappeared overnight. And if it wasn't for UBT support and UBT advisors, I don't think we'd be in business today. So, yeah, owe our life to UBT.
Well, church critics say that the UBT is used to funnel money to the church in some sort of money laundering scheme, quite an accusation. So have businesses or our charitable organisations been specifically set up to dodge tax, Gareth?
No, not at all. No, we absolutely believe in paying tax. That's what makes Australia great. It's what makes any country great, because it really funds essential services like health and education and transport and roads, bridges, gas, water, the list goes on. So any forward-thinking, prosperous country relies on taxpayers' money. My father was actually a company auditor and a tax accountant. So from day one, he was always adamant that we pay a tax. And one little story comes to mind. He said he got a call from his father, John Hales, about 50 years ago, and he said, "I want you to write 3 things down, Bruce." And one was total integrity with the tax office. The second thing was to do the best by your clients. And the third thing was, if you make a little bit of money on the way, that's by the way. But I thought that was 3 good programs to go by. But yeah, we 1,000% believe in paying tax.
Yeah, there's been a myth for you, Dean. There's been a myth for decades that we don't pay tax, and it's honestly laughable.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we've had a lot of wider community employees join our business that have seen the narrative and the headlines around avoiding tax, and it's far from the truth. And just to echo what Gareth said, I think it's been, since we all entered into business, a cardinal, non-negotiable principle that we've been brought up on, that you pay your tax and you pay your tax on time.
A lot of our clients, Lloyd, are Fortune 500 companies, and they like to look at their actual financials. So we can't have anything dodgy going on dealing with those sorts of companies, yeah.
Well, the church is aligned with a charity. One of them is called the Rapid Relief Team, or the RRT. And for those that don't know what the RRT is, Greg, can you tell us what it is?
Yeah, the Rapid Relief Team was established for the care and compassion of the community. It mainly helps charities and frontline services in times of need. So, for instance, a lot of disaster relief or preparing for disasters. So across the globe, we've helped after major hurricanes in the US and here in flooding in New South Wales and Queensland and and helped in fires all around the globe as well. So there'd be many firefighters and nurses that would know us and attest to the good work the RRT has done.
So do church members use the RRT as some sort of tax break or?
No, not at all. I've actually volunteered for the RRT. Me and Dean packed about 6,000 sandbags out at Windsor on a wet Monday night. But it's not the only charity we support. For myself, I also support the Surf Life Saving and Red Cross and many others.
It's a remarkable organisation, Lloyd, operating in 19 countries, but not only the countries and the locations in which the Plymouth Brethren are based. And there's been extensive contribution, like truckloads of food to those affected in Ukraine through this terrible, horrific war that we're seeing play out over the last few years. And it's very much valued by frontline organisations in over 25 countries.
Yeah, even the LA fires, Lloyd, the RRT had a significant impact on that. And the local fireys and police officers were so pumped that our guys could get food and drinks right to the actual scene where the fires were. They said all the other sort of charity organisations couldn't do what the RRT did, so they were pumped up. Yeah, the fireys and the police guys, they loved the service, yeah.
And I think it speaks to our whole ethos and mantra as a church for care and compassion and respect for all mankind, because the personal sacrifice that business owners within the Plymouth Brethren and their employees put in to support RRT is remarkable. So you just take recently those terrible floods in Texas where there was those young children that were drowned. We had RRT support people on the front line there for 3 weeks straight. So they took time out of their businesses to be able to be down there and support those frontline workers to try and retrieve, people that were affected from those floods. And if you look at the only locality or subdivision where the Plymouth Brethren operates in Texas is in a place called San Antonio, which you'd be familiar with, Lloyd. And I think we only have about 150 members there, yet we had close on 50 members of our church down there on the front line for over 3 weeks supporting that cause.
So along with the myth that Plymouth Brethren members don't pay tax, there's a widely held belief that members of the church are disproportionately wealthy and a whole lot of us run multi-million-dollar businesses. Is that the case, Charles, or you got a comment on that?
No, it's not the case. There are a large number of successful businesses, but along with that, there's a large number of unsuccessful businesses. And we look at our own businesses, guys, over the years, and we've all fell on tough times at different times in our career. I can picture times in uni space when me and Gareth were around where we had to go back out to get more debt on our houses in order to get through a particular year. So I think to say that we're disproportionately wealthy is a bit over the top.
There's been multiple newspaper stories about the various homes bought and sold by the Hales family over the years. So I'm wondering, Dean, what's it feel like to be a Sydney real estate celebrity?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, Lloyd. I think I'd make 3 points on that. I guess firstly, if we're celebrities, Sydney definitely needs to find some better ones. Number two, it's obviously clearly apparent that Sydney has an obsession with real estate. We definitely know that that's alive and well, but we live in pretty average suburbs like Eastwood and Epping, not suburbs like Double Bay and Dover Heights. And I guess thirdly, I live in a pretty ordinary house. It's these two guys that got the big ones. So.
Yeah, so seriously, there is some large homes. Is there a reason for that? Or?
Yeah, well, if you look at the way in which we live our lifestyles, the house that I'm currently in, I'm building at the moment behind Gareth, a much bigger house than I'm in now. But the house that I'm in now, I'll pick out 2 different times when we entertain or socialise with the community or the people within our church. One is when we have them in for a lunch or a dinner, and sometimes we could entertain up to 40 or 50 people. Now, I just can't physically do that at my house, but I would love to have the opportunity to do that at my house in the future. The second is we often have what we refer to as special meetings where people gather together in the church from all over the world. And it's an awesome experience to be able to have couples and young kids and older people staying in our house for 3 or 4 nights at a time and exposing our children to those kind of cultural differences. But at the moment in my house, I don't have the rooms to do that. So at my new house, I'll have an extra 3 spare rooms so that I can cater for those people when they come.
I think that's a really important point, Lloyd, because family is at the heart of everything we do as a church and as a community. And generally speaking, when we have large church events or Bible readings, which we have on a global basis, and there'd be a number of people that would travel to those events, and they would be billeted out, if you will, and assigned to different people that would accommodate them in their homes. So rather than staying in a hotel and then getting on a bus and going to the church event or the Bible meeting, they would stay in our home. So we put a big emphasis on making sure that we've got homes that can accommodate people and take care of them, because that's kind of where all the socialising happens after the church events, back in our homes.
And we wouldn't actually know everyone. I mean, we don't know 55,000 people, but it's a chance for us to accommodate them and meet new faces and new people and
it's
learn
absolutely
about their lives.
Just looking after people and giving them a good time. So you've got to have a good lounge dining. We like to sit up at the dining room table, and good family room, and then a good al fresco. We like our barbecues, and I've got a good little fire pit down the back, Lloyd. You're welcome to join me.
Gareth's a bit of a firebug.
If I don't have family and friends, I get the fire on, bit of country music, and then a wee Jack and Coke.
You definitely know when Gareth had a good fire pit, because he generally gives us an update on the Brothers Chat, whether the Wallabies have just won in Johannesburg or the Tigers have managed to pull off a rare win with the NRL.
Yeah, well, the Wallabies win
over
the Box was quite remarkable, wasn't it, boys, if we can say that? We felt pretty good.
Very encouraging.
That
We're
was a
certainly
big
hoping
win.
for a backup performance this weekend.
I reckon Joe Smith's got to stay on a bit longer, but anyway, I've got a plan for that.
Yeah, that's good. You can let us know later after the podcast. No, that was a big win, really big win.
We love the Bockies, though. We love the South African guys.
We've got a lot of South
of them in the
African.
community. They moved out in '99 because it's a bit of a rough country, but I love their spirit. They're sort of rugged blokes, good sense of humour. So
I think that's a good segue, Gareth, once again talking about care and compassion, because as you say, I think we had some circa 1,200 Plymouth Brethren members in South Africa, and we actually had one that was fatally shot from a gangster that...
try to break into his house or car.
No, it was actually in his car, and he was shot by a mistake, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Outside his workplace, I think it was. Right. And as a result of that, some of the elders were concerned for the safety, and so there was a mass migration. So we have a lot of South Africans that moved to Australia and UK and New Zealand, and they form an integral part of our community.
And they love their rugby too.
Yeah, they do.
And they're still very loyal to their mother country, South Africa, when it comes to playing rugby.
Yeah, they're number one in the world for a reason, aren't they? Yeah.
As well as ending up in the real estate pages in the newspaper, we sometimes end up in the education section as well. And I've seen a lot of questions come through about how Brethren are educated, including where the kids go to school, whether they can go to university or whether they're all homeschooled. In the first episode, we touched on where you all went to school, or some of you went to school. What about these days? Where do the kids go to school?
The kids through from kindergarten through to year 3 typically go to local government schools, and then One School Global is then an option for them from year 3 through to year 12. So I would say a large majority of the children within the community would go to One School Global, but not 100%.
You talked about One School Global. Are they schools that are controlled by the church?
No, they're not controlled by the church. They're an independent organisation with their own independent board. What's interesting is that a large number of the teachers and their staff would be from outside the community. In fact, what I can say is 100% of the teachers, not just the staff, but the teachers, are actually from outside the community, because One School Global doesn't teach religion at the school. It prefers that the children are taught in the churches and at their homes. Any specific, obviously, questions about how OSG operates, you're welcome to talk to. Maybe you could get one of the board members or one of the managing directors of the school on a future podcast, but it's not controlled by the church.
So when Brethren students do finish year 12, Gareth, why aren't they allowed to go on to university?
There's nothing wrong, Lloyd, against the actual university courses as such. It's just the campus life and the party life is not really conducive to our values and our way of life. Yeah, obviously they're allowed to do online courses, so we always encourage them to do postgraduate studies. My 2 boys did postgraduate studies for accounting and finance, and indeed everyone that we employ, like 80% of our team workforce, is actually gone through university, such as lawyers, engineers, tradespeople. So we have total respect. It's not that we look down on or think we're superior. It's more just from a moral point of view. We're trying to protect our young people. Yeah.
In summary, we'd probably say that campus life wouldn't be conducive with the maintaining separation.
But again, we don't force our children not to do postgraduate studies?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. In fact, we encourage it. And I've had probably 15 school leavers over the last 5 years, and I would say 70% of them took up either a 1 year or 3 year course. And we allowed them to do that whilst working, so it gives them a bit of a head start so they can get into the workforce as well as having that secondary training.
We like to say, don't we, earn while you learn.
Yeah, it's good.
And I guess another point on that, Lloyd, is that a number of our graduates that come out of school often pursue a trade as well. So we've still got, builders and metal workers and welders that are amongst the community. So their vocation is very much empowered to them as to what pathway they decide to choose.
Well, thanks again for your time. We'll hear more from you in the next episode. And thanks to everyone who's taken the time to tune in. Keep an eye out for our next episode next week.